Welcome back, Julie. Welcome back.
It's gonna be this way.
How is she?
Well, looks like a small class today. Okay. All right, first of all, let's start. Does anybody have any questions from last week? Oh, Nancy, yes. What do we have?
Even though I wasn't here, and thank you for doing the classes online.
Oh, I'm really happy because I heard from a few people who have had to miss classes and some that have watched the classes,
Yes.
that they've been helpful, so that
Yes.
makes me really, really happy.
Well, since you guys are going to all this trouble, okay, so on page 266, that bidding, which, I need to take your class again, but whatever.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to be having a bidding class again, if you know any, well, as long as I get enough people, but it's looking good, starting October 25th. So,
On what day? What is the 25th?
it's a Tuesday, it's Tuesday mornings. Tuesday mornings before the Tuesday.
Well, I know that Cummings Cove, they had your name out on the table.
Huh? Well, and I appreciate that.
Oh my God, they're just.
Well, and I appreciate it because I've gotten quite a number of calls, so that's why I say it's looking good. We've got a lot of people, so I'm gonna send out an email this weekend.
We're also up on the Hendersonville, North Carolina Facebook page. as well.
Henderson, oh, they approved us?
Yep.
Oh, that's good. Hey, so, oh, that's good, so we're up on that too. Thank you, Mimi, for that idea. She's not here, but thank her anyway. So that's good. Okay, so anyway, so looking October 25th, this way I can get most of it in, this year before people head to Florida. Well, for those of you who are still here for the holidays. Anyway, it's a good thing, so I'm hoping that it's gonna work. Okay, so anyway, go ahead.
With that lead in, page 266, number 3, how come you don't bid 2 clubs?
I had the same question.
I'm sorry?
Okay, let me just.
I had the same
Oh, you have,
question.
good, okay,
Thank
so
you.
like mine.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you why.
Well,
Because
I see.
just think if you were gonna open this, right? You've got 2 5-card suits. You open the higher one first. So if you're gonna overcall the higher one first, because you have 2 5-card suits, right? They open a heart, you bid 2 diamonds. Something happens and you wanna bid again, now you can bid 3 clubs, which is lower, so your partner can make a suit preference without having to go too high.
Okay, in that last sentence, too high, my little brain cell is like, well, let me bid 2 clubs, and if they don't like it, they only have to go to 2 diamonds.
Well, yes, but how are they gonna do it if they like clubs better? So the thing is, let's just show you here.
Well, then they could just go to 3 clubs.
Okay, hold on just a sec. Yes, okay.
Right.
hold on.
Remember, if you bid clubs, they can't bid diamonds unless they have 5 of them. Because you're overcalling a 5-card suit. For them to change suits, they require at least the same length.
Okay, well then maybe that's the key that I'm not recognizing. Hence my rebidding remedial class.
3 clubs. 3 clubs.
Oh, wait, I want to do it the opposite so you can see the problem. That's why that's the right way. Sorry.
2 clubs. Two clubs.
2 clubs. 3 diamonds. Okay?
Can you fix that so it's readable?
Oh, you're getting really big.
Hey, the director knows what to do.
Okay, so you can see the difference here. If he's got, let's say he's got 1 diamond and 2 clubs, just say, right? He would prefer you to be in clubs than diamonds, correct? So if he's gonna have to bid here, he's gonna have to make a suit preference back to your first suit, he's gonna have to go up to 4 clubs. Now, he didn't want to bid to begin with, but he can't leave you in your second suit when it's not good. All right? Does that make sense? Whereas, look at it this way. he can say, okay, I can leave you in clubs if I prefer clubs, or I can take you back to diamonds because that was your first one, and stay at the 3 level. That's why.
Okay, and then go on to number 6.
Mhm.
How come you don't bid 1 no trump?
Well, first of all, 1 no trump, I've got way too many points, I think. Let me
Well,
just see here.
yeah,
The opponent
you do.
on your partner, open, what do you call with each of the following? Okay, your partner opened a heart.
No,
Let's
the
see.
No, the
opponent.
opponent did.
The opponent opened a heart, I'm sorry. The opponent opened a heart. You like to defend in hearts, wouldn't you? Okay, so you got 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. First of all, you don't have enough points to bid 1 no trump.
As an overcall even,
15 to 18.
15 to 18.
Okay? Second of all, we don't know at this point, because it's been 1 heart to you, right? We don't know which of the defenders, which of the other 2 people have points, right? Because you've got an opening hand, he's got an opening hand. That's roughly 26, right? So there's 14 points between the other 2 hands. We don't know who has who, right? But if they end up in hearts, wouldn't you prefer to defend? Versus if your partner doesn't have any points, do you want to be in no trump? I'm telling you the answer.
Why?
You don't want to be in no trump,
Yeah.
okay? All right, you'd rather, because your hand will get more tricks on defense.
Okay.
So what you really hope is that it goes 1 heart, pass, 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 well, to your partner, and your partner's got some of those points and decides to say, well, I'm short in hearts, I'm just gonna do a takeout double so my partner can bid something. Then they're in 1 heart doubled.
Oh, and then you would just be quiet when it comes to you and your partner would go, did you take Debbie's class?
Well, we just had it, actually, I don't remember who was at the table, but we had it yesterday, where somebody did a takeout double, and their partner passed. And it's like, didn't you know that was a takeout double? And she's like, well, yeah, I did.
Susan.
They did quite well. Yes, because they had like 5 or 6 clubs against you.
Right.
And they, oh, was it you that they played
Oh,
against?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You were.
Oh, that's right, I remember. You had nowhere to go.
Right.
Yeah, that was just, how many did you go down?
I don't even
Yeah,
remember.
it was bad. But what I'm saying is, oh, just one, that's good then. And then you played it very well. But that's what it's there for, and it does work. You do get that quizzical look by your partner, but you know what you're talking about. And hopefully you as the partner wouldn't do that, but internally you are like, what? Anyway, any other questions? No? Okay. No? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna preface this week by saying that this is the crappiest chapter in the book, okay? It's really hard. This is very, very hard. In fact, I was telling some of the people earlier that some of the people that play in the A side on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday would probably flunk this week's class. Actually, a good part of them. So I want you to get the concept, but I don't want you to beat yourself up because it is very hard. But if you're at least aware of it, of what's the concepts that we're going to go through here, it'll give you something to think about going forward, okay? And also when we play the hands, if the declarer makes the contract, I don't want the defenders to beat themselves up too bad, because this is a really hard course, this chapter, okay? And it's going to be showing a little bit about getting in the declarer's way, which is what we're trying to do, and trying to keep them from executing their plan that they've made. They make a plan, your job is to foil it, right? And some of the things that we're going to talk about, it talks about getting help from your partner by giving count. Now, as I said in the last week's chapter when we talked about count, I don't really teach it because at this level, I think it's very hard, and there's so many more things that I think are more important at this level. When you get up and you're playing in the A side and you want to learn count and practice count, I think it'll be really helpful for you. I personally don't even use it. But again, that's my downside. But I find that I can do quite well focusing on other parts of the game, and that's what I want you to do. Once you get those other parts down, if you want to learn and practice count, good for you. And I'm just going to give you a little example, because when I was first down here, first directing, a very, very good player over on the A side was here, and his partner didn't show up. So I offered to play with him, you know, if you want. And he said, sure. And so we sat down to go over our stuff, and I said, by the way, I don't play count, I don't give count, I don't notice count. And he's like, what? And I was like, I thought he was gonna walk out to tell you the truth, but he said, all right. So he had to play with this handicap of me not giving count the whole, well, we won, and we won by quite a bit, because I pay attention to a lot of other stuff, and so did he. So to say that we don't give count, that we can't play bridge, no, you can play bridge quite well. You just have to practice other stuff. And I put that example out there because the guy really thought I was crazy. So anyway, so when they talk about count in here, we're just gonna go with it and just continue on, okay? So we're gonna talk about the defensive hold-up play. I'm starting on page 217, okay? So you can see, as the declarer, your goal in this suit would be to set up some of these cards in dummy. Do we all see that? And we would start by playing high card from the short side, right? So we would start by either leading to our king or playing our king from our hand, right? And then we would go to dummy. So you can see how important it is if the you person, which is the person on the right, does not play their ace upon the king, all right? We're gonna wait. Now they say that your partner can tell you how many they have so you know how many times to hold up, all right? Well, let's just get holding it up down first, okay? So you can see how important it is that if you hold up for the second one, okay, that they have to get there to make more tricks. I'm sorry, I just had a brain fart here. Make more tricks. They would need to get into dummy with another entry, an entry in some other suit. Does everybody see that? And if you hold up to the third, then they would definitely have to. So you have to figure out if they've got 2 or 3 of this suit, and that's where the count helps. But we're not doing that, so you have to kind of guess. But you want to take a look in dummy and see if they have any other entries, okay? Now, if they only have 2, well, they're gonna, if you play the king and you hold up, and they go over to the queen, they continue leading this suit until you come up with your ace, because they're there. They already got there. And if there's no other entry in dummy, then you want to make sure that even if you hold up to the third one, that that's all the tricks they get, that their other winners are stranded. Do we see that? Okay? If they have another entry, they're always going to be able to get their tricks. Now, you may make it more difficult by holding up to the second one or even the third one, but once they get over there with the other suit, they're going to be able to capture those tricks in dummy. The difference is if they need to be able to get to dummy more than once, and you make them use their entry to get over there to set up this suit, then you have accomplished something. Even though they're always going to get their tricks, they've used their entry to get there. Does everybody see that? And as we all know from the play of the hand class, entries are really important. Everybody remember that? Okay? So that's what you want to see when you're defending, is seeing declarer's plan and seeing if there's a way you can foil it. And a lot of times you can, because we took the play of the hand class first, so we know the plans that we make, so we also be able to use that to help defeat the contract. All right? And that goes, take a look at the next one. It gives another example here. This time the declarer has a singleton king. Now again, you don't know, all right? But if you hold up, then they will only get that one trick, as long as they can't get to dummy for other ones, to get the other ones. Does that make sense? And sometimes that, now in no trump, it's a no-brainer, right? It's not even hard. In a suit contract, I've got people that are worried that it's a singleton king and they might not get their ace. And the thing about this chapter, and again, it's hard to get your hand around. Sometimes you give up a trick on your side to keep the declarer from getting a bunch of tricks on his. So let's just say, for example, that this is a singleton king and he's in some trump suit, not this one, right? And you don't take your ace, so you are never going to get your ace, right? But he has to now use another entry to get over to dummy to try to get more tricks in this suit. If he's only got one entry to dummy, and he plays, so he gets over there, he plays his queen, now you play your ace, it will be trumped, but the jack, the 10, and the 9 are stuck in dummy, and he will not get them. So even though you didn't get your ace, and again, this is the hard part, because we're so geared, I wanna make sure I get my ace. It's my ace, and I want it, right? And that's, we all think that way, okay? But again, and it's hard to get your head around, and that's why I say, don't beat yourself up if you don't get this the first time, but just kind of think about it. Because what does declarer need to do to make his contract? He needs to set those up. If you can keep him from setting those tricks up, you have accomplished something good for the defensive side, okay? Even if it means you might not get your ace, yeah.
So do you kind of look at the board, and if there's, say, 2 or 3 entries,
Yeah.
then you might just go ahead and take your ace, because you figure, well, you might.
If he
he's
can
not
get
gonna
over
have
there,
transportation.
again, if he's got plenty of entries, then you have to look somewhere else for your defensive tricks. And that's part of it, seeing the entries. Also, if you can hold up, and if he's only got 1 entry, if you can knock that out so that he can't get there, that's good. Noticing the fact that entries to dummy are important. Now, having said that, let's say you defend perfectly on one of these, and he's got all those winners in dummy, and they're stranded, and you know that, because you and your partner have defended really well. Okay? So the declarer's looking at all those winners that are waving at him, and he can't get there. All right? What you and your partner have to do is get rid of every card in that suit out of your hand so fast.
Yeah.
All right? This is not a defensive signal. This is saving the contract. All right? For your side. You get rid of those because you don't want to have, we've all been there. At the end, we have to lead into dummy to those winners that he couldn't get to, right? Because we get one. Those are the cards you get rid of. First thing, out of your hand. So that you don't ever have to leave. Keep every card, I don't care, out, okay? Because you don't want them to be, you don't want to have to lead back into them. So that's very important to strand them on defense so that the declarer can't get there, and then just make sure you don't put him there by accident, okay? And again, if there's only one, you have to realize if there's only 1 entry, you have to take a look at the entries, and if you can hold him to having to use that entry so he's over there, and now he's over there, but now you can stop him from taking those tricks, then you have succeeded in taking those tricks away from him. And that, my friends, is really good defense, okay? Sometimes it's hard though, because sometimes you have to lose that ace, and it's so hard, okay? Take a look at the top.
Question?
Yes, dear, oh, yeah.
Just an editorial comment. The thing I really struggle with is, you just said get rid of those cards, but there's another section where it tells you you gotta protect the suit and hold all the cards in
Okay,
that suit.
but this is what I'm talking about. He's got all those winners in dummy. So on this one, let's take a look at page 279, right? You let him have his king. All right, now he goes over to his only other entry in dummy, whatever it is, okay? And he plays the queen. So now you cover it. He trumps it. Okay? So now he's got the good Jack 10 9. Those are all the high ones. Okay? So the Jack 10 9 are all high, which means all of yours are lower than them. Those are the ones you want to get rid of. Okay? If you still got one that's going to keep his, let's say you had
You have the jack and you have 4, you hold it.
yes, to keep him from running them, yes. Yeah, that's another situation. I'm talking about when he's got a whole suit set up in dummy, whole bunch of tricks, okay? And you don't have anything that's gonna help stop it, because you're all low, and you've only got a few, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about counting and everything like that. Not giving count, but counting. You wanna get those out of your hand, because if you have to lead it, he will get those tricks, because those are his. Right now, he can't get there without you helping him. Okay? And I've seen that happen sometimes. It's like, well, he can always get there. Well, no, he can't. So maybe not leave that one. So it gives you another example here. Take a look at the top of page 280. Again, it's hard to see sometimes, but again, let's assume that this is a no trump, okay? And declarer's plan is to set that suit up in dummy. Do we all see that? So he would start with the high card from the short side by playing the 8, right? Now he might go over there, he might overtake it, but there's no reason, he's got another one. He's gonna play the 8. Now look how important it is for you maybe to let him have that trick. You know? So he can win another one. Now you can play your king, but now he has to use an entry in another suit to continue setting that up, and you can stop it again. Does everybody see that? Yeah.
So in that case, you hold up, he wins the first trick, he plays again, you take the king. You don't play the ace, right? You save that.
Right, and thank you.
Oh,
That is a very good, because I'm going to tell you that I see people doing that all the time. Well, I want to take my ace now. But the thing is, if he can get over there in another suit, that's fine. But if he can't, then, I mean, if he can get over there in another suit, then you definitely don't want to. If that's his only entry, he can't get there again and you know it, then sure, you can take your ace. But if he can get over there, you have to hold up on your ace again, because otherwise he'll go use his other entry to get over there. And if you had taken your ace, now his were good. And that just happened to me yesterday. I was playing against someone who just didn't realize it. You know, I'm trying to finesse a suit, and they've got I have a very bad split, and they've got them all. So I put them in, and then they took their winners. And I'm like, okay, but now these are all set up, and I'll just go over with this suit, and there they are. Okay? So it's very important to realize what's going on. Again, if they have entries or not. And sometimes they can set up a really weird entry, but most of the time you can figure out if they can't get there or not. Okay? All right? And there's an example here at the bottom of page 280. So this time, take a look. And again, this shows the concept. So we can see that our partner has led the queen of spades, so we know they have the queen, jack, 10, probably the 9, right? Against no trump. We also know they don't have the ace or the king, so we know declarer's got the ace and the king, right? So when you think about your partner's lead, think about what it says, and you can put cards in declarer's hand. And that's very important to envision what he's got in his hand and what your partner's lead meant. So your partner led the queen of spades, and you can see that declarer's plan is going to be to set up some diamond tricks. Don't we agree? Okay? We agree that he's going to set up some diamond tricks. So he's going to win with the ace or the king of spades, and he's going to immediately start with high card of the short side and the diamonds, right? So he's going to play the 10, and he's going to let it ride, correct? Now look what happens, okay, if you take your queen on the first trick, right? He'll lead another one, and he can go over. Now, you can hold up, but now he can keep playing diamonds until you come up with your ace, and he can get back over there with the queen of hearts. Ace of hearts. Does everybody see that? But what happens if you play low on the first one? Let him have it. Okay? He's going to play again. Now you take a stopper, right? You take your ace, your queen, right? Depending on what he leads to, ace or queen, you're going to take that one. And you're going to return your partner's suit, right? But now, the declarer has to go over with his ace of hearts. That's his only other way to get over to dummy. He goes over with the ace of hearts and plays another diamond, but now you take your other diamond stopper. He will not get those diamonds because he has no other way to get there. Does everybody see that? So holding up, even when you've got the ace queen, and how many people would hold up on the queen, would play the queen on the first one? I know, we all would, okay? But I'm trying to show you to put your mind into the declarer's mind to think about what his plan is and see if you can figure out a way to
You
stop
wouldn't
it.
lead a heart to try to get rid of his stopper first.
I probably wouldn't, because what's the chance my partner has too much in hearts? Remember, they're in 3-no trump, and he's already led the queen. You know, it's possible, but more than likely, I'm just going to return my partner's suit, because as long as you hold up, he can go over there with his ace, but he will not get the rest of the diamond tricks, because you can see that there's no more entries for him. And again, it's a little harder to see, a little harder to practice, because again, it goes against our basic nature of wanting to take those tricks. But again, I think I've told you many times before, getting your ace is one trick. But if you take your ace, one trick, and you give him 4 more, That net is not good. Yeah.
Do you think this way also in a suit contract, or is it no trouble?
A suit contract, yes, you still do it. It's easier to see in no trump. And in a suit contract, you're more likely to give up a trick by holding up. But again, if it's your only way of defeating the contract, remember, your goal is to not get a trick. Your goal is to defeat the contract. So you have to see it. There are some examples I'm going to give you later on in suits that I'll show you, because it's a little harder in suits. All right? Because sometimes you do have to sacrifice a trick, and that's even harder for us, which is why I said this is a really tough chapter. It really is. But as long as the mindset is in there, so you're thinking about it, that's a head start. Okay? So if you take a look at the bottom of page 281, okay, a similar type of thing, all right? Here, your declarer is going to try to set up this suit and dummy, and he's going to take a finesse, right? So he's going to start by playing the queen, high card from the short side. Now see how easy you make it if you take your king on the first trick? Okay? It just is. It's fine. He'll get all the rest of the tricks without it. But if you hold up, he can go over there to the jack. Okay? And if you take your king then, he would need another entry to be able to get over there to use the suit. So just because the finesse is going to lose, doesn't mean it has to lose on the first time. Because generally, if the finesse, on the declarer side, if the finesse wins, wouldn't you take it again?
Yeah.
I mean, I would, because that's, you have no way of knowing that they're holding up. That's the only way to make your contract. That's what you got to do, all right? But you can see that how easy it makes it if you take the king on the first one. All right, now it gets a little trickier, I think. Yeah, here we go. Take a look at page 282. See, that time you had 3 of them. It was easy. No problem holding up, right? Okay, now page 282 there in the middle. Now it gets a little more difficult, all right? And here's where we all fail. All right, so we all see that when he plays the queen, and lets it ride, do we take our king or not? Well, and this is one thing. When you're deciding, because you see, before the suit is even played, correct? You, the you person, you know that declarer is going to try to set this suit up. Do we all agree? And he's going to take a finesse. We all know that. So when he does that, be prepared how you're going to play it. So before he even gets to that point, when declarer's making their first, dummy comes down and declarer's making their plan, well, at that point in time, you should be making a little bit of a defensive plan on yourself. Counting trump, because you can figure out how many trump your partner has, and how the bidding went. You can figure out something to do with your declarer's hand and your partner's hand. But you also have to think about when he's going to take a finesse, how you're going to play ahead of time.
So you're not going,
Mm-hmm. All right? It kind of gives a lot away, all right? So you want to think about that. And it's not always that exaggerated, but come on, we've all seen it, right? Do I take right? So it happens. So you have to, in your mind, think about, am I going to duck it? Am I not? Okay? And once you do that, you make that plan, make sure you do it smoothly so that they don't have any clue. You'll see that the more skilled players, the more advanced players, the people with a lot more experience, will never hesitate for a second. They've already got it decided what they're going to do. And that card comes out, no matter what they have, you never know the difference. Okay? Because you don't want to help. And, we're human, but, you try your best. So anyway, take a look at this one. So if he plays the queen, and you play the 7, that's a gutsy move, right? Now you have to hope he's going to go over and take that finesse again to the jack. If he does, you will have stopped the suit. You still got your king. You will have stopped the suit. And he would have to use an entry, if he had one, in another suit to get over there. Okay? And if he doesn't have another one, you have done very well. Okay? Now, yes, Tim?
So, you've got, nobody in this room would do this, but there might be some that do. If you're the partner, don't hesitate to try to trick the declarer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because, you know, you have to play in tempo. And some people will do that, right? They'll hesitate and try to say, well, should I play it? They don't have the king, to try to trick the declarer into making a bad decision.
That's really
But
cheating.
that's cheating. Don't do that, right? And if somebody does that to you at the table, where they hesitate, we've seen that with like a singleton, where they're hesitating, what should I do? And they play a card, and then later next trick you find out they had a singleton or they didn't have anything. Why were you hesitating? Call the director, because that is cheating. You're supposed to play in tempo.
Yeah, just so you know, just to be aware of it, because, you know, you're supposed to play fair. Bridge is a fair game. It's a great game, but it is fair. There is not supposed to be, and that is cheating. That is cheating. I called somebody on that once.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, it doesn't happen very often, so don't think it does, and don't ever think of doing it, because it's just, nah, it's not good. But anyway, so you can, yes.
Just a question, you know, this signaling, the count business?
Mhm.
If your partner were to play the 2 right here to try and tell you that he's got an odd number of cards, doesn't the declarer look at that as well and say, oh, he's got 3, so you only have 2, and if it's the king?
Yeah, I could. You'd have to ask and make sure that you're playing count, but yes.
And a lot of declarers will ask, what's your signaling?
Oh, and that, they're entitled to that information.
Right? So if I'm declarer, I'm playing a hand, and I play a card, you play the 2, before I call for a card from dummy, I can ask the partner. You can't ask the person that played a card. It's just like alerts, right? Okay, but you can ask the partner, what's your signals? Because I need to know if you're playing count, and you're entitled to that information.
Yeah, there's no secrets.
No secret, right?
Yeah.
So the declarer is entitled to that, and what signals and discards you play. In fact, a lot of times when we first sit down at the table, before they pick their cards up and say, what's your signals and what's your discards? Because they just want to know what systems you play, so as declarer, they know what's going on.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Very, very true. But yes, they would know. They would know. But again, they would not know that the king is one of those 2.
No, you're right.
Okay? So if they play the queen and it wins, then there's a very good chance that they might take the finesse again, assuming that the king is on your left. Okay? And if that's the case, then you have succeeded, the you person, right? Because you've gotten your king, you stop the suit, and unless they have another entry, they're not getting there. Okay? Now, if you do that, you play the 7, and they say, well, the 7's pretty high, I bet he has the king, and they go up with the ace, then you have lost your king, and he will still make the trick, and there you go. But you can't win them all. I've got it right in here. You can't win them all. Oh, right at the bottom. You win some and you lose some. This time you will lose. Okay? But again, if your goal is to defeat the contract, you have to defeat the contract. But that takes a lot of guts, I will tell you. And so now we're going to talk a little bit. So we talked a little bit about, you know, having the entries there. Now we're going to talk about attacking the entries, which is what you were saying. Somebody said about leading the heart on that last one. Take a look at the hand on page 283. So this time he's in 3-no trump again. What's the surprise? And your partner leads the jack of hearts. So we know he's got the 10 and the 9, right? And we know he doesn't have the ace, the king, or the queen. So we can see that we have the ace, and we can see that the king and queen are in dummy. Okay. So we're in 3-no trump, and we know, the we person, knows that the declarer's goal is going to be to set up the clubs. Do we all agree?
Yes.
And we have a stopper in there, but we only have the 1. So we'll win our ace of hearts because there's no reason not to. We want to return it back to our partner. But what we might want to do is knock out that ace of spades right away. Because we can see that that's going to be the only way that he's going to get to dummy to set up the clubs, right? If I hold up properly on the clubs. Now, if he's got 4 clubs, then there's nothing we can do about it, but that's not that likely, okay? So what we would do is when we win our ace of hearts, we would immediately lead the king of spades. Now, does that give up a trick on our side?
Sure.
It does. It does. But it also keeps him from getting those 2 club tricks at the end. All right? Because if we don't do that, all right, he's going to win his, the heart return when you win it, right? And he's going to be able to play the queen and then a little one over to the king and keep leading it until you come up with your ace. But then once you get back in, he will be able to go over to the ace of spades and dummy and collect the rest of his club tricks, making his contract. So you as a defender have to sit there and think, that's gonna be Declare's plan. And I mean, it doesn't take a lot to be able to figure that out, seeing that club suit and dummy, don't we all agree? Right, that that's gonna be a plan, and that he's got that entry? So on this particular case, we have the king and the queen. We can force him to get rid of that ace of spades. Now, if we play the king and he doesn't take his ace, okay then, right? We can still do the same thing by now leading a little spade to his singleton ace, getting that baby off the board while you still have the club stop. See how that's thinking ahead? Now that is something that you should think about, okay? Because again, your goal on defense is to set the contract. And how you do that is figuring out what Declarer's plan is and figuring out a way to stop it, okay? Does that make sense? It's a little, that one's pretty easy. If you take a look, let's see, I think it's,
But it kind of, you know, the old reminder of the dummies on the right play the weakest thing in sight, not necessarily, right?
no, that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, because I might have held up on my ace of hearts to force out, declare to throw out a king or
Well, if you
queen.
do that, okay.
But then they get to start setting up their suit before I get to throw out.
They're always
theirs.
gonna get their king and their queen because the ace is on that side.
Yeah,
You can hold up if you want, but then all you've done is block the suit,
okay.
all right?
Right. you get
So,
I've heard
there's really no reason to hold up on that. You only have two. Your partner might even have five, we don't know. But again, you gotta think about the defensive plan, okay? All right? And you can see that with dummy, and I think it gives you some examples on the next page, because you had the king and queen this time on page 284. It's pretty obvious, you know, to lead the king to knock out that ace, because they can either take it or not, but if they don't take their ace on the first one, you can just lead a little one and get it out of there just as easy, you know? It's a little harder when you see the second one, okay? Here, is it worthwhile to lead, well, you're not gonna lead the king, because that's not gonna, I mean, well, I suppose you could still do it, because it's gonna play the king, force out the ace. It does, if he doesn't play it, right? You can lead a little one and the ace, when you've only got two in dummy, all right? You can see how that would be an effective tool. You're sacrificing a trick for your side, but you're keeping them from getting all the rest of them, all right? It's something to say, yeah.
Are all these, no Trump, or it doesn't make any difference? How, on this two?
Well, these are all in no Trump
Okay.
right now. I'm sure it's gonna come up in suits
Okay.
too. A similar type of thing will come up in suits too. And you can see, and what they're showing you here is, yes, you're sacrificing a trick. I'm still on the second one here, where you've got the king 9-8-3. Yes, you are giving up a trick, but you are hopefully preventing them from getting the additional club tricks. So it's one versus two or three, and that's what you're thinking about, okay? And they can show you, see, it says here, it would be worthwhile to lead the king to drive out the ace, but leading a little one, what good is that gonna do? Right, because now he's gonna be able to declare play the queen win, and he's still got his ace and dummy to continue on his merry way. All right, so seeing when you have a card that's gonna absolutely force him to play that entry is what we're talking about, okay? And here's another one now. Again, it's a similar type idea. Remember, we've still got that hand where the ace of spades is our entry and he's got that club. So we're still talking about the same hand. The only thing that's changing is the spades in this hand, okay? And you can see here, this time, you don't really have anything in the suit, but you do have four of them, and you're hoping your partner might be able to force out the ace because you don't have an honor, okay? So if you take a look here, if you lead, I would lead the 9 myself, I wouldn't lead the 3, they say to lead the 3, okay? You're gonna lead this suit. It does finesse partner, take a look at that. But by finessing partner, you succeed in getting that ace off, because declarer can play the queen or the jack, your partner will play their king, they still got the 10, which is a good card, right? Declare can either take his ace or not. But if he doesn't, your partner is in with the king of spades, sees your brilliant plan, and will continue with the spade knocking off that ace, all right? Now, you can say, well, why didn't he lead a spade first? Well, we didn't know what dummy had first. If he had, he might have led a spade to begin with, all right? But we didn't know that he had those long clubs and only 2 spades. Does that make sense? So that's why when you make your initial lead, you have one plan, but you have to get more information once you see dummy, and you get a feeling for what Declare's plan is going to be to change your defensive a little bit. Does that make sense? Now, normally, you would not lead this suit to finesse your partner. Do we agree? Okay, unless we wanted to get that entry off. Okay, so normally we wouldn't do this unless we're talking about entries. If we need to get that entry off. But normally this would not be a good lead for you because you don't lead into the strength of the board, generally speaking. Does that make sense? All right, so it's when your goal is something different. Okay, if you had 4 of them to the king, I wouldn't lead a little one here because chances of your partner having something to knock out the ace not as good. Does that make sense? Okay, all right. Then they give another one here. This is a little bit different. Now they're talking about creating the entry. So let's say, for instance, we need to get to dummy to do something. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, which one, is this the 3rd one now?
Okay, I just finished talking about the 3rd one.
Okay, so we're at the bottom.
Now I'm going on the 4th one. And this is a little different. Now they've switched to having an entry and you trying to knock it out, where now we're talking about Declare trying to make an entry. So we have all been in Declare, right? And we've needed to get to dummy to take a finesse or to do something, right? And often, well, sometimes getting to dummy is a little tricky, right? We can't get over there, but we need to get over there because we have to take a finesse. So what we have to do as a Declare, and we talked about this in the play of the hand class, is we have to make an entry. Entries are so important, right? So if you can see on this one at the bottom, Declare is trying to make an entry. He's trying to make an entry with that queen of spades. So he's going to start by playing the king. Nick, you play low. He's going to play the jack because he's still trying. Play low again. Now he plays up to the queen. You take your ace, entry gone. Okay? This type of thing happens a lot, and you will see it because you've had experience now after taking the play of the hand class of learning that you have to create entries sometimes. Well, now you know that Declare is doing the same thing, so you have to see, aha, that's what he's trying to do. Let's see if we can stop him from doing that. Maybe he's got all those winners in another suit set up because you've held up enough. So he's got them. He's got winners in that suit, and now he's trying to get over there to get them. That's what happens a lot. And if you can see that, you want to do your absolute best to keep him from getting there, right? And that's a situation. I'm sure we'll have one of those coming up. All right, let's take a look here on page 285. So this time, once again, he's in 3-0. Isn't that convenient? Okay, so we can see that, again, we've got this similar type of thing. Now, this time, our partner led the jack of spades. Oh, well, that's kind of a good way to attack the spade suit, so that's good. So let's see what's going to happen here. Okay, Declare is going to try to set up the clubs. Do we all agree? Okay. So he's going to play the 10, and West is definitely going to play low, right? Yeah. And you're going to play low. And what do you play in East? Do you take your king?
I'm lost.
Okay, we're on page 285.
The jack is led.
Jack is led. They played low from dummy because they need to keep their ace of spades as an entry because they're going to try to set up those clubs, right? Everybody see that? Yeah. So you're going to play 2 because you don't like his suit. And Declare's going to win with the king or the queen. So he's in his hand. He wants to set up the clubs in dummy, right? So he's going to start with high card from the short side because that never goes away. And he's going to play the 10 of clubs, right? Now, do we all agree that West is going to play low? Okay, good, that's good. So he's going to play low from dummy. What do you think East plays?
5 or 2.
He's got the king or the six. Okay. Dummy's gonna play low because it's high card from the
I
short
play
side.
the six.
He doesn't know who has the ace for sure, so maybe he should take the king, because if declarer has it, his king's gonna fall under it next time.
Yeah, but don't you play high card from the short side, so you would play your ace first if you have?
Okay, we're not playing, we're the declarer.
Yeah.
So we're sitting in south,
Uh-huh.
okay? So we're gonna try to set up our clubs in dummy. So we're gonna play our high card from the short side, which is the 10 of clubs. Yes, dear.
So to answer a question, knowing that and trying to set up a long suit, the declarer's gonna play high card from the short side. If the declarer had the ace, wouldn't they play the ace first?
Yeah.
And it's like, so when the declarer plays the 10, I think you can be pretty confident that the declarer does not have the ace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's not 100%,
but a pretty good chance.
not 100%. But again, and again, this is what I'm saying. It takes, courage, I guess is the word, maybe? to-
Blind faith.
Blind
Leap of
faith.
faith, leap of faith.
Blind faith, yeah. That you would play low. And again, that's what you're trying to do. Because, and generally speaking, if he's got the ace, he's gonna play it a different way. He's probably gonna play the ace and then a little one up there. Just give you the king. And then he can use the ace of spades to,
Yeah, that's
you know.
true.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
generally speaking, that's the way. And again, you're gonna have somebody who plays it completely different, but then you can't do anything about that. All you can do is try to do the best defense you can. And seeing about playing low. And again, I'm not gonna tell you, it's hard. It's hard to not play your king on that first trip.
Especially because you could leave back a spade and try to force out that ace again.
Well, but you know that the declarer has the king and the queen. Because
Right.
your partner led the jack. So it's gonna be hard to force out that ace till he's ready, because he's got 3 stoppers and that's the last one. Okay?
Right, but he's already played one
Mm-hmm.
on the lead.
So if you force out a spade, he's gonna come up with the other one in his hand and still
Right.
have the aces.
Right, but then if the ace of clubs gets in, then they force the spade out again.
Yeah, but by that time, at that time, the clubs have been set up and he'll get over there. So let's just see what happens. Take a look. He plays the 10, your partner plays the 4, the 2 is played from dummy, and let's say you play your king. You won, okay? You lead another spade back, so now he's taking his king. He's in his hand, okay? He plays his other club. Now he can go over there. Now remember, he started with the 10, so the queen, the jack, and the 9 are all good clubs, except for the fact for the ace, right? They're all good. So he can lead over there, and he can continue playing those clubs until your partner's ace is out. Okay? So he will play the queen, the jack. At that point, your partner has to play the ace, otherwise he revokes. Okay? So on the 3rd club trick, he's gonna have to take his ace. Now, he can lead another spade if he wants, but now the ace of spades is in dummy, and all those club tricks are set up. Okay? Now let's just take a look if you hold up on the king. Okay? So you play the 10, lets it ride, you let it ride smoothly. Again, you've planned this. Okay? Your partner, the declarer now plays the 3. West is still gonna hold up. Do we agree? Okay. Now you take your king. It's your trick. You lead a spade back. Okay, that's fine. He takes his king. Okay? Now, or maybe he goes over to the ace. That might be too, because he needs to get in dummy and he can't get there anymore. He plays another club. Now your partner takes their ace. Either way, those clubs are stranded in dummy, because there's no way that the declarer can get there. Do we all see that?
Because he only has one chance, and that's the ace of spades.
No, that's not true.
Well, again, if you take your king on the first trip,
No, on the second turn.
right, no, but I'm just saying, if you take your king on the first time he plays the club, right, he can now go over because he's got another club. So he doesn't have to use the ace of spades as entry. He has a club. So he can lead the club, even though your partner plays low, he is now in dummy. He's gotten there. He's there. He can lead clubs to force the ace of clubs out. And he still has the ace of spades in dummy to get there once the ace of clubs is out. Does that make sense? Does everybody see that? You want me to put it on the board?
Yes,
Yes. So,
yes, please.
okay. Just read the clubs out here, hon, in the space. We got ace, little, and we got something. The clubs are queen, jack,
9, 7, 5, 2.
7, 5, 2. And down here, we have 10 little, and we've
King,
got
queen,
king, queen, what, little?
6.
King, queen, 6. Okay, and the jack of spades is left. Okay?
Put a line between the north and south hand, just to, there you go. There you go.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, so the jack of spades is led. Okay, and he plays low. You play low, and he wins, let's say he wins his king. Okay? Now, he's gonna play the 10. He's got ace, little here. This guy's gonna play little, because second hand low. He's gonna play low, and you have king little over here. Okay? So let's say we play little. We don't take our king. Okay? So now, declarer's still gotta set up those clubs. He's gonna lead another club. Partner plays, wins the queen,
He plays the
king. Okay, now, he can't get over there to set up those clubs without using the ace of spades. Do we all see that? Okay, so he can use the ace of spades, but now, when he plays clubs, your partner's ace is gonna come out, and all those winners are stranded. Okay? Now let's show it if we don't play.
Wait.
Isn't that, but what about this, this is talking about the jack of hearts becoming an entry. He can still create an entry.
No, he can't. You've got the ace over the jack.
That's right, so he can lead the king and the queen of hearts, right? If he leads the king and you play
That's the second ducking. Right now, we're just on the clubs, but yes.
but if you play the king of hearts, if you take the ace, now his jack becomes an entry, right?
Which is why you don't take the ace.
So then he leads the queen.
Uh-huh.
And
you do-
again, if you take it, the jack becomes a good.
And that's why you have to take a look. That's very good. I hadn't gotten to that part yet, but I was still on the clubs, but yeah. And that's seeing the entries. And again, once you've succeeded in stranding the clubs, you have to make sure he doesn't get there. So this guy with the ace is not gonna play the ace until that jack is played, because he's still got the 10. So declarer is going to try to set up an entry by using the hearts, and he's gonna try really hard, king, queen. But you have to, and sometimes you've got the doubleton ace, and what can you do? But you don't, and you wanna make sure that you don't take that ace until that jack is played, because you don't want him getting there.
And
Let me go back here though.
And he's
So
entitled to 3 heart tricks. 2 heart tricks. He's got king, queen, jack. So he's entitled to those 2 heart tricks. So you holding up isn't giving him anything extra. He's getting the 2 heart tricks, but what you're doing is you're keeping him from getting those 3 club tricks. So you're giving him 2 tricks he deserves, but you want to make sure he doesn't get the 3 club tricks he does not deserve.
But
That's why
after you
don't
take your
play your
king of
ace.
clubs, what do you lead back?
The spade.
A spade, okay.
All right, now I just want to show you the difference if you don't, all right? So, okay, so now we led the spade, came over, he played his king. He's going to play the 10 of clubs because he's got to do high card from the short side. So he's going to play the 10, he's going to play low, he's going to play low, and you're going to play low because you take the defense class, all right? And you got guts of steel. All right? So, he's gonna play low. It's very important that this guy doesn't come up with his ace. He's still got to, because he sees the ace of spades there, he's still got to play low. Okay? He's gonna play the queen. Now you get your king. You're in. What do you lead back? A spade. Right? Okay. So now his partner is in with his hand. Okay? But now, he can go up with the ace of spades. But if he plays another club, your partner can still stop it. All right? Let's say he doesn't play the king. Let's say he plays the ace on trick, the second spade. He's still got the same problem. He's there, but he can't collect on those clubs. There's no way he can collect on those clubs. because you defended so beautifully. So that's why seeing this, and again, I'm not gonna say it's not hard. It is.
Right.
All right? Yes, Jim.
So, yeah, it is really hard, because I don't know, I'm a king six, I don't know if Declare has 10 little, my partner has ace little, versus my partner having ace little, and, right, because if Declare has 3 clubs and my partner has ace little and I play low, our ace and king are gonna crash on the second trick, we only get 1 trick and he still gets all those tricks, we can't stop him. But, you know, if it's,
And that's why I say it's hard.
right,
It's hard. And sometimes you will give up a trick by trying to defend. But again, your goal is trying to defend. And that's the thing. You're 1 trick versus a lot of tricks. And that's what's hard to see, okay? But it's really important that this person continues to play low. And they have to figure out, if he had the king, he wouldn't be playing the 10. So this guy has to figure from the play of the hand when he's playing the 10, that there's a good chance that his partner has the king, okay? Again, I'm not saying it's easy. I am not. That's why I said this chapter's really easy. But you want to see it. Now, having done that, and we've defended beautifully so far on the clubs, because we're just so good, now Declare's still going to try to set up the clubs, right? Because that's his stuff. So as you can see from looking at the book, what we were talking about, he's going to now try to set up the Jack of Hearts as an entry. All right? So he's going to win, he's going to be in his hand, and he's going to play the king and the queen, hoping that some defender's going to take their ace. Because if you do, the Jack of Hearts is now an entry, and he collects all of his club chips. I know, right? That does happen a lot, and that I do want you to see. When they're trying to create an entry to tricks that are on the board that they can't get to, you want to help to keep them from there. You want to keep them from getting there. Okay?
How's my partner gonna like my guts?
Hopefully a lot when you set them. Okay? All right? Again, like I said, this is hard stuff, but I want you to at least see it. Even if you don't do it right away, because you just are a little nervous, that's okay. As long as you're aware that this, and when somebody sets it and you don't, and you take a look at it, because we can see the hands and everything like that, and even online, you can actually replay it so you can see how they set it. We have a lot of tools on that website. It's really great. So when you're in 3-0 and they made against you, but other people got set, take a look, replay it, see how they got set, because it'll help you. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit now about discarding and about keeping cards. So I'm on page 286 now. Now the first thing I want to tell you is, we talked about discarding and signaling, right? It's really important. Even if your partner doesn't pay attention, get in the habit of doing it. At some point you'll play with somebody that does pay attention. And if you're playing with me on a Tuesday, I'll watch every single card you play. Okay? Even if you don't mean to do something. But you never, ever, ever want to give up a trick to signal your partner. All right? So if you've got king, queen, 7 of a suit, don't play the 7 to say, I like it, because now the ace is going to take one of your kings and queens. So what you do is you leave the low one of another suit. So don't leave me this one. Okay? And hopefully your partner will be able to figure out. If you say, don't leave me this one and don't leave me this one, they're going to figure out which one to lead you. Okay? Or maybe you don't have anything and you don't care. All right? But don't give up a trick to signal your partner. If you take anything out of this class, that's the most important thing. Okay? Signaling's good, but you don't always have to signal. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can't afford to. All right? Now, if you look at the bottom of 286, I think that we all can agree that we would not discard a card in this suit. Do we all agree?
We would not what?
Discard a card in this suit at the bottom of page 286, if we're the you person.
Oh, you
Right?
keep them.
Right, we keep every last one because we want to make sure that they can't get their 10. If we discard even one card in this suit, then the declarer can play the ace, the king, and the queen, and the jack would fall and his 10 would be good. That's pretty obvious. Sometimes it's a little harder. Take a look at the top of page 287. Would anybody think that keeping their 7 in this suit might be important? No, we wouldn't, come on, all right? But again, it's about numbers. Now, this is a no trump contract. It happens a lot more in no trump, okay? But if you can see, you've got 4 of them. 4 is 4. You know, if everybody has 3, that 4th one is gonna be good no matter what, right? So you wanna think about, you know, keeping, and what they call is, it's called keeping parity with dummy. So if you can see the dummy cards, you've got 4 of them, you wanna keep 4 too, to prevent the declarer from getting that last little 5, right? And if you discard one, take a look. So take a look if you had discarded one of these, right? Declarer's gonna play high card from the short side, so he's gonna play the king, and then he's gonna go over and play the ace and the queen. Now, if you had kept all 4, your 7 would still be higher than the 5. Never saw that coming, right? But it's 4 and 4, right? So you would try. If you discard one, then his last little 5 is gonna be perfectly good. So what's called keeping parity with dummy. When you can see that there's 4 in there, you want to keep the same number. If they discard one, then you can discard one because they're not going to set it up. Okay? It's harder to see when the long suit is in declarer's hand. Take a look at the next one on page 287. Here, it's harder to see, but if you can see to keep your diamonds because you have 4 of them, it will, huh?
I was just gonna say 4 to the 10 is a pretty good suit.
It is, it is, it is. But again, if somebody's bid diamonds along the way, then you know they have some sort of diamonds in their hand, so it helps you to think about, maybe I should keep this suit and discard another suit, okay? You want it, in your mind, you're keeping parity with declare and that suit, okay? Because that was his suit. It's harder to see when it's declarer's suit, but you have to be, and that's why listening to the bidding is so important, because too often the bidding will give you information about what's going on. And if you take a look at the next page, on page 288, it gives you an example, all right? And it's using that same holding that you had. So here, declarer had opened 1 spade, and his partner dummy bid 2 clubs. He now bids 2 diamonds. His partner bids 3 spades, and he goes to 4. All right, so we want to keep it back. So in your mind, being the 2 defenders, you have to think about, okay, so we know that our partner has only 5 spades because he didn't rebid them, right? We also know he's got,
Declarer.
oh, what
You
did I
said
say?
partner.
Oh, I'm sorry, declare. Yeah, I'm sorry, thank you. That's why you need to be here, dude. That's why you need to be here.
That's why I
Keep
get
me
the
on my
big
toes.
bucks.
You're good for something.
That's why I get the big bucks.
But he wants to keep going in there and hiding, and making cards, and I'm like, no, I need you out here. Anyway, so we know that the declarer has 5 spades because he didn't rebid them, so he's got exactly 5 spades. He also bid a second suit diamonds, so he should have 4 diamonds. He may have more, okay, but he should have 4 diamonds, which means that he's only got 4 cards in the other 2 suits, right? And we can figure that out by listening to the bidding, and you should. When you're defending, you have to sit there and think, okay, well, he's got this many spades, so if I know that he's got 5 spades, and I see 3 in dummy, and I've got 2, I can count how many partner has right off the bat. The same thing with diamonds. He's got 4 or 5 diamonds, then his partner, you can figure out how many diamonds your partner has. All right, if I see that. Does that make sense? And I will tell you that I do that on every single hand. So it's a matter of training yourself to do it, but every single hand I will go through that exercise. Even when I'm declare or defenders, it doesn't make any difference. I'll go through that. So your partner has led the Jack of Hearts. Now let's take a look at this, okay? So they got to 4 spades. Your partner has led the Jack of Hearts, okay? So you're gonna let it ride, right? Because there's no reason if he doesn't cover with the queen, and he's not going to, there's no reason why you would play your ace or your king. Do we all agree? So they're gonna play 3 from dummy. We're gonna put the 4 on. Is that a discouraging signal? Well, yeah, but your partner's Jack just won, so I think you can figure out that's pretty good, right? So he's gonna continue, okay? And now you will take the next 2 heart tricks. Declarer followed to all 3 heart tricks. So he's got 3 hearts, because we just took 3 heart tricks and he didn't trump in. All right, does everybody see that? Can everybody Vision that? Okay, so we know he's got 5 spades, 4 diamonds, and 3 hearts. How many clubs does he have?
One at
One.
most.
One at most, right? If he has 5 diamonds, he's got 9, right? Okay, all right. So you're gonna get in, so what are you going to lead? Let's see, you've gotten 3 tricks and they're in 4 spades, so we need 1 more trick, right? So we're the you person. What card do we lead next? Our partner has won the Jack of Hearts, and we have now won the Ace and the King, and we are on lead. What card do we think we should lead? We need 1 more trick on defense. The King of Clubs, right?
Yeah.
Right? The King of Clubs. Huh? Force out the Ace, okay? And if our count was wrong and he's got another club, we have the setting trick, right? Okay. So let's think about that. Okay. So now they're going to play a lot of spades, and we have to start discarding.
Wait, Debbie,
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. You lead the queen, the king of clubs. He takes it with the ace. Declare only had 1 club.
I know.
Okay, just want to make sure.
But we forced out the Ace,
Yes.
and we have got the Queen and the 10 over his Jack. So he's not going to be able to set up any club tricks.
Right.
So by doing the King, because you can see if we lead anything else, we might be helping the declare. So we're going to lead the King, sacrificing one of our tricks, but he gets the Ace all day. But now we have the Queen and the 10 over his Jack, so he's not going to get any more club tricks, even if he had more, okay? And he's not going to be able to set up a club trick to discard a loser on, because we've got the Queen and the 10 over his Jack, okay? Does that make sense? Is that hard? No, okay. All right, so what he's going to do now, okay, he's going to go, so remember now, take a look. So the only thing that's left in dummy now is the Jack 4-2 of clubs and the 6-4-3 of diamonds. Okay, he's now going to pull the trump. So he's going to go up to the Ace in the back and he's going to pull all the trump. At some point you have to start discarding. Okay? All right, so he's going to play a lot of trump, and so after the first 2 you have to start discarding. Now you don't have any more hearts. You have diamonds and you have clubs. Well, I think we can all agree that the 3 of clubs is our first discount because we already led the king. Our partner knows we got the queen. It's not an issue, right? Now we have to discard something else. All right, so let's just cross them out. So we've played the spades. The hearts are gone. We played the king of clubs. We've discarded the 3, and we have to discard another card.
Why is he going to play another round of trump, you think?
Yeah, he's gonna.
Okay.
Because he's making us discard.
Oh, he's making us discard. Oh.
All right. So we could discard another club because we still got the queen, right? Now he's playing another one. Played another spade on us. What are we going to discard now? So now we have the 10, the 7, the 5, the 2 of diamonds, and the queen of clubs. That's all we have left. What do we discard?
I would discard the club because he can't get over there to use it anyway.
Exactly. That's what you have to do. That is very hard to do.
Wow.
That is very hard
By
to
then
do.
my brain is mush.
But if you've counted them, again, and that is not an impossible thing. That's something you should be working on, is counting when people bid and how they play the hand. But if you know that he can't get back over to that club, right? Then, and you know he bid diamonds, so he's got at least 4 diamonds. You need to keep your diamonds and discard the club. Yes, we're gonna say
I
something.
just did that yesterday. I had to throw away my good king and queen of spades, discarding it to keep my 4 hearts to the jack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I've had to discard aces. That's hard.
Yeah.
But when you know they don't have any more, and you know they've got this suit, and you've got a stopper in it, that's the suit you have to protect. I will tell you, it's a little exhilarating though when you think you're brilliant enough to discard an ace. I'm just gonna tell you. Just, I don't need this ace. He doesn't have any more of those, you know. But it is kind of cool. It shows you're paying attention though. Okay, and if you can kind of take a look, here's the deal. If you take a look at page 289, all right, and you can see what he's doing. So this is the hand again. He bid the spades, he bid the diamonds, and you took the first 3 heart tricks. then you let the club, okay, and you can see, if you do discard a diamond, he will make 4 diamond trips. So you have to, in your mind, because he bid the diamonds as his second suit, right there, that's an inclination that he's got 4 diamonds. So that gives you a reason to want to keep a diamond. Okay, does that make sense? That one's not that far-fetched. Hard to see maybe until you start really thinking about it, but when you start thinking about it, and you start realizing what cards are in what people's hands, you can start to get a defensive idea. Does that make sense a little bit? Yes, Dan?
Just put, I think to make it clear, just put what dummy would look like at that point. So there's no spades left in dummy, there's no hearts left in dummy, he's got 6, 4, 3 of diamonds, and Jack, 4, 2 of clubs. Right?
And you've got
And you've
10.
got 10, 7, 5, 2 of diamonds, and the queen of clubs.
Okay, so you're down to, well, this is what you have, right? So he's gonna start discarding.
Then he plays another round of trump from his hand, he's gotta discard something too, right? So he's gonna discard probably a club.
Oh, well, he'll probably discard diamonds, he doesn't
Or
keep the
discard
diamonds up there.
something,
He wants to
doesn't
keep the
matter.
clubs there in case they
Right.
leave the club
Right.
somehow.
Right.
But he's gonna discard
But at
diamonds.
this point, right, based on the bidding, you know that he can't get to those clubs.
Mhm.
So there's no reason to keep any, even if you had the ace of clubs out, he can't get to the clubs, looking at dummy, then just get rid of the clubs in your hand, because
To
they're doing
protect
no
the
good.
diamonds. Yeah, that's harder to see, but again, with practice, you will see it. I'm gonna tell you, because, I mean, we didn't get it right away either, I mean, it takes a little while, but with practice, you know, and you just start to think about the bidding. Bidding gives you a lot of clues, and you're entitled to every bit of information. Did you have something to say, Nancy?
Well, I was just gonna say, now that you can see all the cards,
Mhm.
when he wins the, ace of clubs, and he could leave the 6 of diamonds to your ace, king, and then go over the ace of spades, and then come back and finesse diamonds through his 9 queen.
He well, he
That's-
could, but
Now
if
you
you
see
think
all the
about
cards
it,
you can
if he did that, then our partner would still have a spade and could rough it.
Oh, but that's why, oh,
See,
oh, yeah, you gotta get, okay.
okay?
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
you know, that's why, you know, when you're the declarer, you know, sometimes you have to do that, but you also, when you're in a Trump suit, you got that nasty Trump issues that you have to deal with, you know, so pesky Trump. So you can see, I mean, that would be an option, but again, if you don't pull Trump,
Yeah, he's gonna have Trump to Trump, yeah.
yeah. So again, and you would have to be able to see that, and when you've got 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, you expect them to split, you do expect them to split 4, 3, but again, it doesn't mean that they got the 10 could drop. And if the 10 drops, then, you know. Anyway, that's not a very likely plan. It's certainly possible that somebody might do that, might play the king and the queen, but I don't think it's very likely. Okay, it just doesn't make sense. Okay, how am I doing on this one?
You're going along.
I'm going long. Oh, geez, I didn't want to go long. Okay. All right, well, let's just talk a little bit about finessing here, defending against finesses. Again, ducking, second hand low is really, really important. If you take a look at page 290, all right, this is the suit he's got. So declarer, if you don't play it for him, and again, you don't want to give him any help, so I wouldn't play this suit for him, generally speaking. But if declarer's going to play this suit, he's going to lead from his hand towards the king jack, right? If you come up with your ace, it takes the whole guess away, right? I mean, right? It's king's good and he doesn't have to worry about anything. If you play second hand low, then he has to play one of those cards from dummy and he could very easily guess wrong. If he plays the king, he wins, he does well. If he plays the jack, he does not. And it's a 50-50 shot, right? I mean, he doesn't know. Unless there was something in the bidding that told him that you had the ace of clubs, he's got to make the guess. If you come up with it right away, you just gave the whole thing away to him. All right? Yes,
All right, this is probably a remedial question.
that's okay.
Why didn't, when your partner opened a spade, his partner opened a spade, and you have 3 cards support, why wouldn't you just bid 2 spades?
Oh, I can tell you that. Oh, wait a minute, where are we? It's the old fake 2 club bid. Okay, because you've got too many points. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. You've got, whoa, now you got 11 points, okay?
Bid 3 spades?
You only have 3 of them. A limit raise requires 4.
And you,
Wait, what now? Are we back to page?
She's back to page 289, she had a question about the bidding, which is a very good question. Okay, she said, why didn't she bid the, north person? Why didn't they bid 3 spades? Because they've got the 11 points and they've got a spade fit, right? And the reason is because by definition, a limit raise requires 4 pieces. That's what a limit raise is, okay? Now, I will tell you, does it say that in the beginning bridge book? No, but they will never show you an example of bidding 1 spade, 3 spades with only 3, because it's wrong, okay? If you go anywhere on the internet, anywhere, any bridge books, if you look up the definition of a limit raise, which is what 1 spade, 3 spades, 1 heart, 3 hearts is, it will say 10 or 11 points and 4 pieces. And that's because the strength of that bid is showing the 9 card fit. All right. So, and you probably don't remember. A lot of people don't. I call it my old fake tooth of a minor bid, because that's what my old students used to call it. So what you have to do on this hand, if you take a look, your partner bids a spade. You don't have 4 pieces, so you can't do a limit raise. So what you do is you make what's called a temporizing bid. You just have to make a forcing bid. So you bid 2 clubs. Okay, you know you're not going to be in clubs, right? It's safe because your partner's going to bid something. They have to. It's a forcing bid, and then you will bid 3 spades, showing them a limit raise with only 3 pieces, and that's how you get to 4. Okay, and that is something that actually we just did a bridge shot on that just a couple weeks ago. So because people forget that, but that's why. Okay. Is that what?
And I've already forgotten.
That's okay, I'll do it again. Okay, if you take a look, so we're talking about on page 290, so if the Clara leads from this and goes up with the king, no harm, no foul, you'll get your ace on the next one. Well, not really, because your partner will take their queen, but still, if they guess wrong and lead over to the jack, then your partner gets the queen. When it's led again, you will still get your ace, but your ace will now take the king. Okay, so playing low, but again, plan on it. As soon as that king jack comes down, you know declares at some point going to lead towards the king. Decide whether you're going to play low or not. All right? And when he's got 2 in dummy, more likely than not, he has more than 2 in his hand, so, or 2 or more. So there's no harm in playing low. Okay? Again, if you take a look at the next one, they're just giving you examples of second hand low and trying to lead. So take a look at this the second one, where the king, queen, 5 is in dummy. So how would we play this if we're going to play this suit?
Mr. Carr,
As declared, yeah.
you lead towards the dummy.
Right, we want to play low towards the king or the queen, all right? So we would play second hand low, smoothly, again, smoothly, all right? And then the king wins. Now, if he plays the queen, which would not be a good move, you will take your ace. But more likely than not, what he's going to do is he's going to come to his hand in another suit to take that finesse again. It worked the first time, he's going to hope it wins the second time, all right? But what he does is, in order to do that, he has to get back to his hand. Again, it's all about entries. So if he only has 1 entry in his hand, say, and he uses it for this finesse, then you will have succeeded in taking that entry out of his hand. Generally speaking, you need more than 1 entry in order to play a hand back and forth, okay? So it's about entry, so it's about thinking like that. So, but look how easy you make it if he leads low towards the king, queen, and you just pop up with your ace. It's taken the whole guesswork away, all right? It's not always about getting your ace, okay? If you take a look at this one.
But if he does, just go ahead. But if he does get back to his hand and he goes to take it again, would you take it on the second one?
Probably.
Because he's.
There's no reason to hold up at that point again, unless he has no other way of getting there. But if he's playing it that way, he has a way to get there, or he has another one of this suit. Yeah. I would definitely play low the first time, but the second
Right, but the second time you come up, because he's do 2 tricks, but you want, at that point, you want to make sure. If he doesn't have another one and you're in a suit, you might not get. your ace.
Well, the thing is, if you come up with the second one, he's gonna get his 2 tricks.
He's always gonna get 2 tricks.
Yeah, generally speaking,
So you
yeah,
might as well
because
make
the
sure you
ace is
get
where
your
it
ace
is.
on the second one.
Yeah, I would take it on the second one.
Okay.
That's up to you. If you take a look at the next one now, the one on the bottom of the page, okay? Now this is really cool, all right? Again, just because the finesse is gonna lose doesn't mean you have to take it on the first time and make him aware of it. So let's see how this works. This time, the 8 is played, or declare a lead, that's something, right? He's gonna lead from this. Now your partner is probably gonna play second hand low, because there's no reason to split the honors there. He's not gonna benefit his side for anything. But he's gonna play low, and you're gonna play the king from dummy. Declare's gonna play the king from dummy. Now you could win your ace, okay? But if he has trouble getting back to his hand, he might wanna come back to his hand to do this finesse again, right? So if he comes back to his hand and he does the finesse again, and he plays the other honor, the king this time or whatever, and now you take your ace, you've gotten your ace, he's only gotten 1 of those, which he's entitled to 1, but now he's used up a valuable entry to get back to his hand, so if he needed to get back to his hand to do something else, he might not be able to do that. All right? Again, it's not always just about taking your tricks. Sometimes you have to make it a little more difficult for declarer, and that's what defense is. It's foiling their plan, making it hard for declarer. All right? Not just about getting a trick. All right? So you can see how effective it really does work on this particular hand, right? If you hold up to the second time he takes the finesse, not only do you get your ace, but then you have succeeded on defense of creating a trick for your side, which is kind of cool too. All right? But the idea behind it is that you're just trying to make it harder on the declarer. Now take a look this time. If you take a look on the next page, it's a similar type thing, although they've changed the cards a little bit. This time they gave the partner the king, the queen, and the 10. Okay? They gave dummy the king, queen, 10. So you're going to do the same thing, lead low toward the king or the queen, and you can hold up. All right? Now that makes it a little bit difficult for the declarer, because then he has to come back to his hand to do it again, and he has to decide where the ace is and where the jack is. All right? He might lead it again and lead it back up to the other high honor, at which point you take your ace, right? And then you have promoted one from your side. If declarer says, well, maybe I'll finesse to the 10, then he did good as declarer. All right? But the idea was, and I hope I'm trying to sound a little clear. I'm not sounding as clear in my head as I would like to. But the idea is you're just not making it easy on declarer. When you take your ace right away, it tells him where everything is for the most part. So it gives him an idea of how to play the hand. Okay? Does that make sense at all? Does it?
Yeah, so if he does put the 10, like your
Well,
partner,
then you're gonna take, at that point you'll probably play your ace, and what are you gonna do?
Okay.
But you know, the thing is, he's played it superiorly, really good, and
really well.
that's all he could do. That's all he could do. But more often than not, when they play up to the king and it wins, they're gonna come back and play up to the queen next. Now, some people might not, but that's the logical and most often used play. Okay? Again, and I said right here at the bottom, emphasis not so much on your ace, but on not setting up tricks for declarer and making it easier for him. Okay? And they give you an example of this on page 292. We're almost there. I thought I was going to go quicker in this one, but I guess I didn't. I'm talking too much. Here, there in 2 spades, your partner leads the king of hearts. Okay. Now, if you see, there are limited entries in dummies. We've got the ace of hearts and we've got the ace of clubs. And so let's say he wins the ace of hearts, because there's no reason not to, really. So he's going to win the ace of hearts, and he's going to be in dummy, and isn't he going to take a spade finesse? Would we all take a spade finesse? Yeah. Yeah. So we would lead a spade to our queen or our jack, correct? Now, we, as the you person, sitting east, we know that the king of spades is a good trick. Do we have to take the king on the first one? No. And it might behoove us not to, right? Because what's going to happen? He's going to think it worked, and he, the declarer, is going to want to do it again, right? So what's he gonna do? Well, he's gonna have to go up to his ace of clubs, use his entry up there, okay? And then take the finesse again. And this time he finds out it loses, but now he has no more entries to dummy. So what does he have to do? At some point, what does he want to do in diamonds? He has to lead towards his king of diamonds. Do we all agree? Well, he can't do that anymore because he just used his entry up there to get to do the spade finesse. Does everybody see that? Now, the important thing is that when you get in with the king of spades, you do not continue, you do not lead a diamond, because you would continue with your hearts, because that worked so well. You would play the queen, declares jack came up. Right, so would we continue with the 10 and the 9? Yeah, right? He's gonna trumpet, but he has to trumpet in his hand. Trumpet in your hand, not good. Right? So you would just continue the hearts. And you would want to continue the hearts as long as you could. And you get back in, you would continue a heart, because trumpet in his hand is not declarer's plan. Okay? Does that make sense? So you can see how using an entry and sometimes holding up on a finesse will help the will cause the declarer to make a mistake on his play. All right? Now, if he just plunks the ace down and says, I'm going to give it up, and then he plays another spade, that's okay. You'll get your king, and he just played it well. You can't do anything about that. Okay? And they're talking about covering a little bit. We talked about covering in the last chapter, I believe, when we were talking about covering honors with honors. Huh?
I was just yawning.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm bored. I'm sorry. I'm bored. I'm sorry. I know this is a little dry. This is stuff dry. Does anybody need to do a couple jumping jacks right now?
You don't need to be sorry, you're doing fabulous.
Well, it's dry stuff. It really is. But we need to plow through it. Okay. What? Oh, okay. So the thing is, if, you know, it's just talking about, thinking about what the declarer's plan is. All right? You could play if it plays the queen, and you decide to play the king, or you play low. If you cover if he plays the queen and you play the 10, it kind of alerts partner, the declarer, that there's some shortage on your side. I think we all agree, right? So if the queen wins, you can play if you play the 10, and he lets it ride, that's fine, it wins. Now he knows where the king is, right? He's still in dummy, and he can play another one, and it will come up your king, his ace, but now, because you played the 10 already, he knows that the 8 and the 9 are good. So he can get all the tricks in this suit. Does everybody see that?
So
you
you
want to put
do
that on
play
the
the
board?
king.
Here, let me put it on the board. Sometimes I don't come out as good as I want, and I really, you know, just tell me if you're confused, because sometimes it sounds good in my hand, and sometimes it really doesn't, and I never know how it's coming out. So we've got the queen, the jack, what is it, the 9-2. You've got the king 10, and he's got the ace 3. Okay? All right. So his idea is he's going to take a finesse here. So he's going to lead the queen, right? Okay. And you might say, it doesn't do us any good for me to cover with the king, so you play the 10. All right. Well, that 10 kind of tells your partner a lot. I mean, the declarer a lot, right? Because you're not going to just throw the 10 out there for no reason. Second hand low, right? Yeah. If that's your low. All right? So queen, 10, little. Okay? Now we'll play the jack, king, ace. Now the 9 and the 8 are both good. So he has lost no tricks in this suit. Okay? Now let's play the queen, cover with the king, and play the ace. Okay? Now, he doesn't know who has the 10. Right? Because you usually don't just put the king up there unless you're trying to promote something for your side. So do you think the declarer might think the 10's over here?
Yeah.
It's quite possible. We don't know. But we've given him cause to think, all right? Because maybe he'll guess wrong and he'll play the little one up to the 9. And then you get your 10. Okay? Again, it's not a guarantee, but it's about giving declarer, making the
Making them double think.
Yeah, making them pause for thought into, so not making it just so easy, okay? Because if you play the 10, he's definitely not gonna cover, right? He's gonna just leave the queen, he's not gonna put the ace on there. He's gonna let the 10 ride, and then it's gonna go good, and then you'll get the king, and he will have lost no tricks in the suit. So by playing low, you haven't gained anything for your side. If you play the king, because it's dead meat anyway. Do we all agree it's dead meat? Okay, that king is dead meat. Queen, jack, we know he's got it's dead.
So at least make him play 2 honors to your 1 honor.
Well, that's it. But also, it makes him guess where the 10 is and how to play it. He might guess right, he might guess wrong. But what the difference is you've made him have to think about it, and the possibility of him guessing wrong is there, okay? And it just goes through the whole thing. And again, if it's on the other side, take a look, okay? Now this time they've led the queen, and again, this is just giving you scenarios to think about when to cover and when not. You're not always gonna guess right. Don't beat yourself up, you tried your best. If you're thinking about it, take that, that's good, okay? Because you can see, if you play the queen, if he plays the queen and you play the king, he plays the ace. But now, is the suit locked?
Wait, where are we?
At the bottom of page 293, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I skipped over.
okay, sorry.
Okay, we're talking about the different times to cover and what you gain and what you don't. So if you see there's 5 of them in there in dummy, right? You have 3 of them to the king. He leads the queen. Now, generally speaking, when you declare, you're not going to lead the queen unless you have the jack and maybe the 10 in there, right? Because otherwise, just putting the queen up there, if you cover with the king, somebody's jack and 10 just got promoted, right? So if he doesn't have it, that's not a good play, all right? So generally speaking, when declarer's playing the queen like that, he's got the jack and more likely the 10 somewhere, okay? So you can see here, again, there's no guarantee. You can play the second one, you can cover the first one, you can cover the second one. But you can see if you wait till the third one to cover the king, declarer is going to be able to get all the tricks in this suit. Do we all see that? But let's take a look. Now, I don't necessarily think playing it on the first one, but the second one for sure. So if you play the queen, and you play low, and he plays low, and then declarer plays the jack, and you play the king, now the ace has been played, he has the 10, but his suit is blocked. Unless he can get there with another entry somehow, he cannot get to the rest of those cards in his suit. Do we see that? So again, you're trying to visualize what declarer's plan is and trying to think about the best way to spoil it. Again, you're not always successful, but you want to think about that. What his plan is, and is there any way that you can stop it? And when he's playing, what does he have? When he leads the queen, he should have the jack. So you have to visualize that. So if you cover the second one, then either he has the 10 and hopefully the suit's blocked, or your partner has the 10 and will be able to stop the suit then. Okay? All right? Does that make sense? All right. I'm so dry. I'm so dry.
Right now my head is just exploding.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just go a little bit more. Now we're going to talk a little bit about suits. Okay? All right. Okay. So we're talking about suits. And how many people, I don't know how many of you have played against me, but have you ever seen me lead trump on defense? Really? I do it a lot.
Oh,
Yeah, when you have nothing good to lead.
Oh,
You try to
not
get
always.
rid of the
I
trumps.
do it when I want to set the contract.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I think there's going to be some roughing and dummy,
Right.
okay? But again, it's something to think about. Like all too often people are like, I don't want to lead Trump, that's his suit, okay? Well, again, depending on how many you can calculate in dummy and how the bidding went, a lot of times you can determine that dummy is using dummy points. Dummy points are only good if there's Trump and dummy, okay? So take a look at the next one. This is page 294 now. Okay, so they're in a 2-spade contract, and you're the you person. And what would you lead against 2 spades?
2 of spades.
They're in 2 spades. And what would you lead against 2-spade contract on the opening lead of the West hand?
King.
The top of the sequence. You'd lead the king of diamonds, correct? Okay. So the king of diamonds, they're going to play low from dummy. What card is partner going to play?
The seven?
The 7, that's right, because they have the ace. They want you to know that. Okay, so they're gonna play the 7. Okay, now, are we gonna play another diamond at that point?
Sure, you can play the 5. But you're gonna get, don't you wanna get rid of the trump and dummy?
Yeah, that's the point. Would we lead another diamond?
I would leave you to the spades.
No, we wouldn't, right? We're gonna lead trump. Because we can see that there are 2 diamonds in dummy, right? We will get 2 diamond tricks. But then declarer is going to be able to ruff diamonds in dummy. Wouldn't that be your plan? Right? We wouldn't pull trump, right? We would want to ruff diamonds in dummy, right? Because if we're looking at the declarer's hand, right? We've got a losing heart, we've got 3 losing diamonds and 2 losing clubs. No spades, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. How many can we afford? We're in 2 spades. How many can we afford to lose? 5, right? So we have to get rid of 1. Does everybody see that? That's back to our plan again now. All right? So we've got 1 losing heart, 3 losing diamonds, and 2 losing clubs, which is 1 trick too many. So we as the declarer have to realize, how are we going to get rid of a trick? Well, we're not going to get rid of the 2 clubs, right? The ace and king are always good. They're leading diamonds. But we have a doubleton, so we could trump a diamond and dummy, right? So our plan would be for them to take their 2 diamond trips, and then even if they leave trump at that point, we can win it and still trump a losing diamond. Do we see that? No? Okay.
To the board.
Okay. So, let's just say, give me, it's Jack little here, something, 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 something. Queen, Jack, something, something. And what do we have in hearts?
Jack,
Jack,
9,
9, 7, 4, 2.
Okay, all right, and so we led the king of diamonds, okay, and our partner put the 7 on, so we know he's got the ace, all right? So let's just say, so we play this, okay, he played the 7. Let's say we play the queen of diamonds, okay? Got our 2 diamond tricks, but now we're gonna lead trump so that he can't trump, right? So we're gonna lead a trump, we're gonna lead whatever, 6, 2 of spades, whatever. He's gonna win with the ace and lead a diamond and trump it with the jack. Making his contract, okay? Now let's see what happens if instead of the queen at trick 2, we lead a spade. So we're gonna lead a spade, our partner plays some spade, and he wins the ace, let's say. But now he's still gotta get rid of a diamond by trumping it, right? So now he's gonna lead a little diamond. We'll come up with our queen, or whatever it takes to win. The queen, it's the jack there, right? And now we're gonna lead another trump. Well, what does declarer do with his diamond loser? That's it. It's gonna sit there and stink up the place till you guys take it, right? Okay, all right? But you see how important it is to see, okay, I know that we have the diamond tricks, but he has to lose 2 of them before he can trump 1. He's already lost 1, so we will lead trump, because that's getting rid of his ability to get rid of his loser and promoting tricks on our side. Because if he can't trump him in dummy, then we will get 3 diamond tricks, not 2. Right? So that's one of the things you want to think about. But if you take your 2 diamond tricks first, it's too late. Because now he can gain control of trump, and he will still have a trump to trump your diamond with. All right? Sometimes too, here, take a look at the next one. Again, it's really important to think about, again, what your partner's leads mean and what your other partner is signaling. So take a look at the page on 295. Okay? Let's see, this time, okay, take a look. So, all right, they're in 4 hearts. Declares in 4 hearts, and your partner leads the ace of spades. Okay, cool. They play little from dummy. What card do you play?
6.
Try again.
9.
9. High, low. You want your partner to continue. You've only got 2 of them. You're going to be able to rough the third one, right? Okay, so your partner plays the king. You complete your high-low by now playing the 6. Your partner now plays the queen. Okay, well, he didn't need to know that we could rough it because he's got the queen himself. Dummy plays another one. Are you going to trump it?
No, this is good.
No, because trumping your partner's good tricks, bad bridge. So let declarer trump it. There's no reason for you to, okay? So what you're going to do now, you're going to discard. You already gave him the high-low. He knows you got 2, all right? So declarer's going to trump it. Now, what card do you discard, do you think? So let's see. We've got the 10, the 8, the 3 of hearts. Well, they're in hearts, so I don't think we're going to discard one of those. We've got the jack, 6, 5 of diamonds, and we've got 5 clubs to the 9. What card do you think you want to discard?
But do you want to give your partner notice with something?
Well, you have nothing to signal, do you?
No, so 2 of clubs maybe?
No, I would, the diamond, so you're
Shortening your diamond
Shortening
suit,
your
that's
diamond
right. And that would be the winning play. Because look what's going to happen. Declarer is planning probably to rough some diamonds. Do we all agree? I mean, that would more likely be their plan.
Oh, but you're behind them and you have bigger cards.
Okay, so we could discard the 2 of clubs, but does that help me at all?
No.
You know? All right, but the thing is that if we, just like Mike said, if we discard the 5 of diamonds, okay, now we only have 2 diamonds, so when declarer tries to trump the 3rd diamond, well, unless he trumps with the 10, we'll be able to over-trump him. And that would be his plan. Take a look at him, right? He's got the ace and the king. He's going to play them, and then he's going to trump a diamond. And is he going to trump with a 10?
He doesn't have the
He
10.
doesn't have the 10.
10? Oh, the 9s. Oh, that's right. Shoot.
Doesn't
I'm
have-
thinking spades, yes. Right. He's going to trump with it as a heart, right? And you can over-trump him. So thinking about what card you're going to discard is very, very, very important. I'm sorry, yes?
Kind of the concept of parity with dummy.
Yeah, a little bit. But the idea is, if you can see what declarer's planning on doing, which is trumping diamonds more likely than not, because remember, that's part of the dummy points that dummy gave himself, was his doubleton diamond, right? So declarer more likely than not is going to try to trump diamonds, so getting rid of a club doesn't really help. Okay, again, it's not always about a signal. You know, your partner has to do their part and just try to figure out what you're doing, but they're going to notice that you discarded a diamond. And they've got 4 diamonds, and at some point this guy might have bid for diamonds, I don't know. But he's going to know that you're shortening up your diamond suit as well. Okay? Does that make sense? That's a really good play. And again, it's about every card you play when you're on defense. Thinking about what you want to accomplish. Because your goal is to set the contract. The uppercut, I'm not gonna go over that right now. It doesn't come up that much. You can read that yourself on page 296. It doesn't come up a lot, and I don't really wanna spend the time on it right now, okay? You certainly can take a look at it, but it happens so infrequently that I'm not even gonna talk about it right now. We're gonna just do a little bit of bidding review, and then we're gonna get to the play. Oh, I'm really behind. Okay. Just for under slams here, they're talking about slams. I am planning on having a clinic. Just so you know, after the class ends, I'm hoping to have an occasional what I call a clinic on a Wednesday morning, just a 2-hour standalone thing on different topics. I got some conventions, some things, slam bidding. I know a few people have given me things that they wanted me to touch on. If you have any suggestions, please send them to me, but I plan on doing that. And it'll be just a once in a while type thing. One of them will be on slams. Here they're talking about the strength of the slam, because all too often I will find, especially seeing people on Tuesdays and beginner games, people are just happy to get to game and they forget the whole slam thing. And well, I'm happy to get to game and that's good. Slams are better, okay? And to not give up on the fact that there's a possibility of slam. And the way you do that is by calculating the 2 points between the 2 hands and putting them together. Generally, you need about 33 points for a small slam and about 37 for a grand. 6 or 7.
Is that high card point?
No, it's dummy points well, okay, all of them, all points are counted, okay? And again, it gives you some examples, and just to give you some examples of page 297, all right? Now here, your partner's opened 1 no trump, and you have this monster, okay? So where do you belong, do you think, just in general speaking, when your partner has opened 1 no trump and you have that hand?
Well, certainly, some game.
Diamonds.
No, certainly some slam.
Oh, right. Well,
Okay.
is that considered a game?
No, that's considered a slam.
It's better than game.
Yes, by point wise. For a vulnerable game, you can get 500 points. For a vulnerable slam, it's 750. 750?
600 and 1430.
No.
A
A game,
vulnerable game is,
500 points. 500 is the bonus you get
oh,
for a game.
bonus, I thought you were-
Okay, no, not the whole thing. It's 500 and 750, okay? So that makes a big difference. 1430, yeah, 1430, 750. Anyway, it's a lot, okay? And when you're playing bridge, you know, the game bonus is good, the slam bonus is better, okay? So on this particular hand, we know we have a diamond fit, right? Because our partner opened 1 no trump, they must have 2 diamonds. So we have a good diamond fit. They've got 15 to 17. We've got 15 high card points, plus 3 cards, 3 points for the 7 long suit. That's way in advance. So we would just get to 6 diamonds. Now here, they say you would just bid 6 diamonds. That's fine if that's what your system, if you have a system where you would transfer to diamonds, you would transfer to diamonds and then bid 6 diamonds. Okay? All right? But the idea is, in your mind, 6 diamonds, not 5, 6. Okay? All right? 7's probably out of it because you don't have enough points. Okay? Although you may make 7 depending on it. If you take a look at page 298, you've got 18 points. Okay? You're a balanced hand. Again, your partner opened 1 no trump. You've got 18 points. They got 15 to 17. Even if they got 15, the lowest, you have 33. Do not end up in game. This is a 6 no hand. All right? We might have a diamond fit.
Do you
Possible,
just
but
bid 6 no at that point?
we would just bid 6 no. There's no futzing around. 6 no. The points are there. Okay? All right? Now, what they also say is when you're going to be in a slam, you want to be in the best slam you can. So if you have a golden fit somewhere, that's fine. Sometimes you have to be in 6 diamonds and 6 clubs. Okay? But slam is slam. Get to the place you need to be. Like they say on this top of page 298, it's possible you have a fit in diamonds, but you're balanced, you've got enough points. The answer is 1 no, 6 no. Done, done, done. On to the next hand, okay? With the next one, on page 298 here, we could certainly bid 6 no, but we have a possibility of a slam and a major suit. Do we agree? So even though we have this huge hand, we would start with a stamen to see if we have a golden fit. Now, why do you do stamen when you've got so many points? Well, because generally speaking, not always, okay, but generally speaking, when you have a golden fit and you're in a trump suit, it generally plays 1 trick better. And that's why we look for the golden fit. You also have a doubleton club, which might come in handy in a suit contract, okay? All right, those are times when you know there's a slam, okay? If you know there's a slam, make sure you get the slam. Don't ask your partner, they don't know. You do. Make sure you guide it to slam, all right? If you're not quite sure, there's inviting to slam. Now, we all know Blackwood and Gerber, correct? Most of us? Okay. Again, I'm going to do a slam thing where I'm going to review those. All right? But here they're giving you another way of inviting to a slam, which is bidding 1 over game. All right? People forget that. I forgot it once in a tournament. It cost us a slam, and I've remembered it ever since. So, bidding 1 over is also a slam try. So, for instance, on this one here, your partner opens 2 no trump. Oh, good Lord. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you have 12 points. So they open 20 or 21. So there's a possibility of a slam there, but we're not 100% sure. We have no long suit to garner some extra tricks from. So what we would do is we wouldn't just bid 3 no trump and just be done with it. We would bid 4 no trump. That is not Blackwood. So 2 no trump, 4 no trump. That is not Blackwood, it's called quantitative, okay? Your partner, if he's got 20, is gonna pass. If he's got 21, is gonna go.
Go to
Yes.
where?
Slam. This is an invite to 6 no trump,
Oh, thank you.
okay? All right?
Is that comparable to bidding Gerber?
Well, again, it's just based on points. So if you wanna do the Gerber route and go for aces and kings, but on this one, there's, you're just, do we have enough points or not? And there's a 1 point difference. He's got 20 or 21. If he has 20, we do not have enough points. If he has 21, we do. So that's it. So it's strictly on point count. Okay? And that's what quantitative is.
But if you were gonna do the other route, you would bid Gerber, not confuse, the 4 no trump would never mean
No.
Blackwood.
Blackwood is used generally when there's suits. Gerber is used when the first or last bid was no trump. Okay? If you take a look at the next one, okay? Where am I here? Okay, here. Take a look at the next one, page 298 at the bottom. So your partner has opened 2 no trump, okay? We know that we belong in spades, right? Okay. So what we're gonna do is now, first you're gonna transfer your partner to spades. So 2 no trump, you bid 3 hearts. He would bid 3 spades because he's a good partner. Then what you would do is bid 5 spades. So the bidding would go, and the idea is, we know we're gonna be in spades because we've got 6 of them. They opened a no trump, they have to have at least 2, okay? So the bidding would be 2 no trump, 3 hearts, 3 spades, 5 spades. Okay, which says, and that's not so much exactly on points as in, how does your hand look in spades quantitatively? So if you're at the higher end, you would bid 6 spades, otherwise you would pass the 5. Bidding 1 pass game is a slam try, and it's just based on points. Okay? Does that make sense? That's one way of, okay. They're talking a little bit about play of the hammer, let's get on the hand. Okay. All right, does everybody have hands, bidding boxes? We're good. Okay. All right, let's see, so, who's there? So why don't you 2 ladies go over here and join